It had been a day of finding things. Katie discovered that if you lose your toy car in the fall, you might just find it in the spring. Orbie found out that when the snow starts to melt, you might find a shiny penny on the ground. And they both learned that spring hides the tiny crocuses in the snow, and they pop up when it melts. The bright spring day made Mom feel like taking Katie and Orbie out for a neighborhood cruise. That meant they would walk around the block and wave at their neighbors. Katie and Orbie loved the idea and pulled on their jackets to keep warm. It was spring, but it wasn't summer yet. As they walked, they waved at Yi Ping's dad, who was sweeping out the garage. Mrs. Perrette was hanging some laundry out to dry in the sun. Tom was in his driveway greasing up his bicycle. And Arthur's family was getting rid of all kinds of old junk. Orbie burbled that spring sure made everybody busy. Mom told him that she thought it was the bright sun and the warmer air. Everybody felt cheerful and a whole lot like getting outside. As they walked along, Katie asked Mom a question. Orbie didn't exactly hear because he had stopped. There, in a dirty old spring snowbank, was a brown leather wallet. Orbie went to call to Mom, but she and Katie were walking ahead and talking, so he carefully picked it up. It was a little bit wet, but otherwise it looked good. He hurried to catch up because they were almost home. Orbie raced behind them and hurried up the front step. As they walked in the door, the phone rang. And Mom picked it up. Orbie could tell it was a business call by the way Mom said, "Yes, speaking." So he waited. He was sitting, waiting, when Katie clomped down the stairs in a big floppy hat and high-heeled shoes. She wanted Orbie to play house with her. Orbie loved pretending to be Dad, so he hurried up behind Katie, who clomped all the way back up the stairs. Orbie put on a tie and a way too big jacket. The sleeves were rolled up, and he stuck the wallet in the pocket, just like Dad did. First, Katie pretended to cook breakfast, and Orbie pretended he was late for work. He kissed Katie's cheek and told her that he was late and he had no time for breakfast. Katie told him to sit down. It was all ready, and he needed to eat something, even if he was late. She held out a toy plate, and he smiled at her. He took the plate and pretended to gobble down his breakfast. He was really being silly, and Katie laughed. Then he gave the plate back to Katie. He pretended to wonder if he had enough money to buy lunch when he got to work. He did it just like Dad always did, and he pulled out the wallet, the one he'd found on the side of the street, and opened it up. It had a whole lot of money in it, and Katie was surprised to see so much money. Asked Orbie where he got the wallet. Orbie burbled that he found it in a snowbank. Someone must have thrown it away. He was going to ask Mom if he could keep it, but she was on the phone, so he decided it would be okay to play with it. Katie pulled off her big floppy hat. She had a splendiferous idea. They could play store with all that money. The two friends leapt into action and set up a store. The toy box was the counter, and Katie put all kinds of toys onto it. Orbie got out the toy cash register and set it up on a chair. Katie was going to be the store owner, and Orbie was going to be the customer. Orbie decided he would be Dad again. They had a great time, and Orbie, playing Dad, bought almost everything in the store for his two young people at home. His arms were loaded. He could barely carry all the toys that he had bought. Katie had to stuff his change into his pocket, and money was sticking out everywhere. Katie was counting a fistful of money as Mom walked through the door. Well, I have to say that Mom was completely shocked to see so much money sticking out of pockets and on the table and in Katie's hands. And she stopped their game and asked where it had all come from. Orbie put his armload of toys down and pulled out the wallet. He tooted that it was all in the wallet. Mom was so shocked that she sat on the bed. She asked the friends to give her all the money, and they did. And Mom looked through the wallet and found a driver's license with the name of the person who owned it. She told Orbie that when you find a wallet, it was important to return it. Orbie explained that it was sitting in the snowbank. He was sure somebody just threw it away. Mom put her arm on Orbie's shoulder. She explained that no one would throw away a wallet with that much money in it. It must have fallen out of this man's pocket without him noticing. Mom was sure that when the man got home, he would have been very upset at losing his wallet. Orbie looked at Mom. He had never, ever thought of that. He wanted to call the man right then and tell him that he had found it. That evening, the man who owned the wallet rang the doorbell. When he saw his wallet, he gave a big sigh, whew. And then to Orbie's surprise, he picked him up and gave him a huge hug. "Thank you, my young friend." Orbie tooted a happy whoopee, and Katie did a little dance, too. The man put Orbie down and then opened his wallet. "You made me very happy today," he said. "You have done a good deed." His wallet contained something very precious to him. Katie and Orbie were sure he was talking about the money, so they were surprised when he showed them the precious thing. There, inside part of the wallet, was a picture of two little children. It was his favorite picture of his kids, and he had been very sad when he lost it last winter. He said, "Now I have it back, all because of your good deed." Well, the truth is that Orbie had never felt so important in his life. As you can imagine, Katie was very proud of him, too. And that's the way it is when you do the right thing. And as he and Katie went to sleep that night, they both still had that good feeling. And I just know that when you do a good deed, you'll feel that way, too.